Greetings everyone, I hope you're well this fine day. I have a cup of coffee in hand. The day is good, the sun is shining, which makes a change in this country. And we're going to talk some Cyberpunk. First we need a big sip of coffee. There we go. We're going to talk some Cyberpunk. Now, we spoke about yesterday, Max Pears discussing more about the multiplayer of Cyberpunk. Now the full interview from the Tokyo Game Show is out. We're going to read the whole thing. So let's kick it off. Now, if you want to read the whole interview for yourself, it's on VGC, Video Gaming Chronicle, and I'll put a link down below for you guys. So, let's kick this off. CD Projekt Red revealed in September that it had decided to focus 100% on first-person view for Cyberpunk 2077, which caused something of a backlash. Now, panic not. This, yes, in some places will retread information that we all know about, but there are some nuggets in here and some fun stuff just from somebody that is obviously intrinsically linked to the game world. There are some interesting snippets, so bear with me in reading this. Although Cyberpunk 2077 had clearly been focused on first person from the start, the statement's confirmation that players will have limited third-person options has received negatively by fans. By some fans, I will say. But I've spoken about this before, so we'll nail this right now. Basically, so long as it works in the game, I don't mind. If there's a moment where I feel that it should have been done third person to get the reaction of my player better, then I'll be gutted. But so long as it works in the first person, I'm okay. Speaking to VGC at the Tokyo Game Show on Thursday, level designer Max Pears said he hopes players will understand the decision when they play the game. And that's what I'm open to. I fully accept that I'm going to... it is what it is at the end of the day, and I'm just hoping it's the right decision for the game, and I'll only know that once I've played it. I hope people understand that we have thought about this, and there is logic to our process, and that's all you can say. Until we get our hands on it, who knows? We've not just thrown this in randomly. There's a lot of thought that's gone into it. In last year's demo, we saw the interactive dialogue system where somebody pulled a gun on your face. I don't think you would necessarily get the same impact in third person. I agree, and that's why I say I'm open to, let's just throw the dice, see how it plays out. In our interview, Pears also shared exciting details about the game's crazy side quests, character customization, multiplayer, and more. So let's dive into it. Question: how challenging has it been to balance level design in a game which has so many character archetypes? I don't know why I'm using that voice, but now we're going to stick with it. I think it's been one of the nicest challenges of a level design. If you've seen the demos, you'll know that you'll have different experiences during each level based on your character. But what we've seen this year, you may go into an area and encounter tons of enemies, or you might skip entirely past that and only see part of each area using ductwork, whatever else. So sneaky versus just bowl in. I think the most exciting thing when I'm working on the levels is that players are going to see different things that others might not, and that is great talking point between players. It's about making it your story with this game, and one of the key philosophies with the level design is that, again, it's your experience throughout each level. More coffee, and I love you, CD Projekt Red, and you, Max Pears, because, yeah, it's exactly what I want to hear. Exactly what I want to hear. I love those bits, and that's what makes replayability so good. And going back and playing it a slightly different way, or especially if there's, I'm hoping desperately there is End Game Plus, New Game Plus. So literally you can, once you finish your game, bang, straight in, new game, open up that world and go and see more of it. Or if I can revisit things, you know, if I, at the end of the game, as it were, the world is now open to me and I can keep gaining skills, keep powering up, and I can go back to those areas and explore them in different ways. I'm all good for that. Question. The voice keeps changing each time. Question: do you have a checklist of considerations when you build a level for Cyberpunk? We do try and make sure that levels feel consistent in terms of options, but it's about the narrative as well, because for CD Projekt Red, the story is king, and that's why I love you. We do try to make sure that everything is balanced, but if, for example, the story needs certain things, then we take that into consideration. That's fine, got no problem with that. Story is king, stay with it. Question: have you had to change anything in your levels based on playtesting? We imagine different character types might have brought up unexpected results. I think that has been one of the most interesting parts, watching people play. Whether you're watching teammates or even playing yourself, you encounter different experiences that the player has. There was definitely consistent tweaking and iteration. Because in one playtest, the player might not even touch certain routes, it's been interesting to try and highlight which playstyle can lead you down which path. It's been one of those most crucial tweaks, making sure that we highlight all the options for the player. Don't highlight them too much, I'm saying that now, because part of the fun is feeling almost like, although you know you didn't, in the back of your mind you didn't, feeling like you got one over on the developer because you did it in a way that they weren't expecting. That's one of the joys of games like this. So don't highlight it too much. I want to feel like I got one over on you, even though I know I really, deep down, I didn't. It's about making sure a certain character doesn't bypass important areas, but also that they don't get stuck halfway down a route, for example. Maybe you've made a netrunner, and then the only way past something is for a strong player. And because it's a fluid class system, people can mix and match their characters. You constantly give different options to tackle different challenges. Again, I mean, that's why we all love this game. More coffee is required. Here we go. Can you think of any examples of something you've had to change based on playtesting? I'm not sure how much I can say, but there's definitely been changes where I had to make sure a stealthy route was possible. That was one of the biggest things for me. That if you wanted to play stealthy, there was always the option for you, especially with the game being in first person. You need to make sure it's clear that you've cleared an enemy or a challenge. Now, for us that want to give Pacifist a go, even though they said it's probably not possible, this is good news. This is good news that they've made the route available at all times, that I can manage to sneak past things. It's not going to be a point where I'm literally in a choke point and there's no other option. Unless it's a boss fight, which I get, but give me options. That's all I want. I want this free world to be full of options, and where I can make the choice I want to make rather than feeling that I've been shoehorned into to a certain playstyle. Okay, the following section covers multiplayer, so we're going to completely skip this and we're going to jump to free DLC because we already discussed this in previous video. Link will be in the description if you want to have a watch of that. You haven't seen it already. So, free DLC. Question. You've also announced free post-release DLC for the game. The voice is changing it again. Do you have a clear plan for what you intend to do with that? Or will you wait and see how players react to the core game? As a level designer, that's not my decision. But I know that the team is definitely looking into what we should do. With The Witcher 3, the game got better with quality of life updates for the community as well, like how we improved the UI and things like that. So we'll be listening to the feedback, but we do have focus on what the DLC will be. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued for the DLC. See what they come up with. Because I just don't want... The Witcher 3 DLC was so good. And was just so good. It really was. For those of you that sort of bought the Game of the Year edition, or the Definitive edition, whichever the current one is, that's got all the DLC and everything in, you won't appreciate how layered and that. For instance, a game for me at the moment that's slowly evolving and changing in a really good way would be Warhammer Total War, the second one. They brought out the new Empire one. Orcs are coming next year, I believe, and they're just slowly tweaking, slowly changing, and all for the good. So the fact that they've learned from that, from The Witcher 3, is fantastic, in my opinion. A question. There was a big reaction online to confirmation that the game will focus entirely on the first-person camera. Has CD Projekt Red seen that reaction? Will it change anything based on it? Question. The E3 2018 demo featured third-person cutscenes. Have your existing third-person cutscenes been changed to first-person? From my experience, no, but most of the levels I worked on featured cutscenes in the first-person perspective anyway. Let it go. Let the first-person thing go. I know it's like, it was a big thing for people, but we haven't had our hands on it yet. Let's play it, and then we can see whether it fits. Question. There's been a big emphasis around character customization in-game. Is it difficult to push that kind of feature while also trying to make an immersive first-person game? One question we get asked a lot is, why customization, or why customize your character if you can't necessarily see it? So they're talking about the cosmetics, not necessarily, upgrading skills and such things. But in real life, we choose what to wear because it represents who we are, and that's what it's about. Having this customization channels into that ethos that it's your story. You can customize your character, your guns. It feels like your fantasy within our world. I think it helps to have that feeling compared to The Witcher 3, which is Geralt's story. So this is something we spoke about before. I actually want to go back and touch on this. I'm going to do it again. In Deus Ex, we were talking about third-person cutscenes, and you see Jensen a lot more when you go into cover and things like that. And it makes sense because you are kind of following the rails of his story. So you can go and explore the world however you want. When you do the main storyline, it is Adam Jensen's story, and you are kind of with him on that journey. So it makes sense that you see things in the third person because you are then sat out of those decisions and you are watching it happen, watching the story unfold. and then you get to go back in and you get to play the game you want, but the story is very much you're not part of that, you're simply watching it. In Cyberpunk 2077, that's not the case. It is 100% your story. It's not this artificial character called V, who the story is already there, it's already mapped out. It is you that dictates the story of V. V is simply a placeholder for you to imprint yourself on. And I love that. So that I can understand this whole first person, third person, whether it's important, whether it's not important. I can see both sides of the argument. And for me, and I'll say it for any, so long as it fits within what I'm experiencing, I don't mind. As long as it doesn't snap my immersion out all of a sudden. As I say, like, as long as it doesn't snap me out, I'm all good. I'm more than happy. And that's what I care about. Question. Every demo you've held behind closed doors in the past year was asked for feedback. CD Projekt Red recently revealed that feedback has led to increased customization options. Did you take anything else from the feedback? We take it very seriously. CD Projekt Red is a fan-friendly studio. I wish more were. I love you. That's why we do it. Because we're gamers ourselves, and there are changes we make because of that. But we're so engrossed working on the project that we've sort of got the blinders on. So getting to hear outside feedback is really important to us. We need to make sure that we're on the right track. We put a lot of internal pressure on ourselves, and we want to make sure that we're delivering the best possible game. These forms were taken in, there were emails sent around to the right people, then we looked at feedback and decided if we agreed and how we were going to approach it. Maybe stuff would be mentioned multiple times, that would be a big key for us, because that indicates it's clearly an issue for players. It's important. It's really rare that you get a chance to do this during development. We're taking feedback as recently as Gamescom, which is really different to E3, and it's important to listen to people. What can you say about that apart from it's great to hear a studio who is listening to the positives of the fan base and not just going, oh, you're all trolls or haters, or well, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Looking at you, Battlefield. Yeah, I'm looking at you. I didn't buy it. Yeah, so your plan worked. It's nice to hear a developer or any aspect of entertainment now that it is pro fan base and not just look, consume, pay pig, consume or piss off. Sorry, Warhammer's currently got Brian Blessed doing the voice of Gortrex, and I listened to it today and I'm like, Gordon's alive. But I've now got to buy White Dwarf just to get that. Anyway, completely being distracted. Question. Will some of the feedback lead to changes in the core game, or is it all post-release now? It depends how big the changes are. We're trying to make sure the quality is right, and that when players get it, it's the best as it can be. Question. Character creation was something you improved based on feedback, but it's still a bit unclear how gender works in the game. It's not unclear, don't be an idiot. For example, how do NPCs address the player's character's gender? It's here, so we're going to go through it. This isn't a big thing. I thought CD Projekt Red handled this brilliantly. But anyway, let's carry on. One of the things we've done to make sure that gender addresses certain things in certain ways is a lot of the time NPCs are just going to refer to you as V. That's nice and simple. And I imagine you're already doing that because it's easier for people recording dialogue. If you can pick a character that's male or female and you've got to record thousands of lines of dialogue, it's far easier to refer to that person as a name that is fixed, like V, than it is to go, you know, he, she, or whatever. It's just, you're not having to copy tons of lines and changing it. So it makes sense that they would have already been doing that. Because you won't be able to choose your name. That way it helps people know that it's their character that's being spoken to. And also, however, we've envisioned that your V, that's still your V. That's been our focus. Your version of V is your version as the player, and that's how we want you to address in-game. So V is you. That's it. You're not a he, her, it, she, apricot, helicopter, doesn't matter. You're V. We really want to make sure players get the representation that they want. In the genre of Cyberpunk as well, it asks such deep questions about what it means to be human, let alone what it means to define your gender. Having that customization match how you feel is your representation of how you feel. It's important for us. It's important for Laura as well too. You completely fluffed that. Well, you didn't fluff the answer. Your answer's fine, but literally, why are we going over this? The core bit in all of this is that we're asking the question of what it means to be human. Cyberpunk as well, it asks such deep questions about what it means to be human. That's it. Let alone what it means to define your gender. That is such an insignificant part of defining what it means to just be human. It saddens me so much that this gender thing has taken over. The first person conversations I can understand because it's how it affects the game. But this is just, it frustrates me. Frustrates me that we distract so much from what is an amazing game with such a stupid thing as gender, when you're in a world where literally, as Max just nails it, that it is what it means to be human itself, let alone what gender you are in that. Ridiculous. I'm not going to get distracted. Question: what about how you determine your sex physically? The game is set to feature full frontal nudity after all. We have the body type that you select, and then the genitals will be determined by that. You can have a male or female voice with either body, but the genitals are defined by the body. Well, fucking shock horror. Do you want the male body with female? I don't know what people want anymore. That should be enough. Should be it. Literally, it should just be. Do you remember the old like Baldur's Gate style games and that sort of thing, where you could pick what your character looked like? Generally, it was just a portrait picture, and maybe you could change, you know, what hair color and stuff you had. But you had a little portrait picture, and then you could go through the voices that you wanted, and you generally had and then you select like the thief one and be like, oh. And you could pick voices in between. That's it. That's all you need. You just need pick male, female, whatever picture you want, and then pick whatever voice you want. So you can be a big burly bloke with a beard in your picture, but then you can pick the voice of like a elf, female. It doesn't matter. That's fine. Like, why is this such a big thing? I don't understand. This is what I'm talking about. So here we go. Back on track, ladies and gentlemen. Question. Apologies, this is a long video. I do apologise, but it's worth going through. There's some good stuff in here. Question. Have you been involved in the game's side quests? How outlandish have you been able to get with those? I have been involved in side quests, and they're a crucial part of the game because it's a massive world. Some of the Witcher 3 side quests felt like a main quest by themselves. 100% agree with that. We're giving a lot of love to that area and how it plays into the game world. Like how you'll gain street cred, which determines which vendors you unlock and stuff like that. These side quests will benefit you. That is a huge part of a world like Cyberpunk, world like, but even a world like GTA, the campaign. You know, all games like this, the side quests are where you'll spend probably the majority of your time. You know, and the side quests give you the ability to explore the entire world and generally give you more freedom than the main quest. The main quest will be go here, and yes, you can approach it in different options, but things like side quests give you so much freedom to just go crazy, and I'm looking forward to that. Question. How crazy have you been able to go with the gameplay in those? I can't give details, but before we came out here, we were talking about one which I don't even know we could do or why we would do it. I wish I could talk about it, because honestly, there's one side quest, and believe me when I say you'll know it when you see it, of absolute craziness. There are some fantastic interactions of not just the levels, but the characters that you meet. Working with some of the quests and narrative designers, you have lots of fun with this. There's one that I've just finished working on, and it's just such a great quest in terms of the experience that you're going to go through. There's going to be side activities like racing, boxing bots. There are a lot of different activities that you're going to be able to go through. And because it's an RPG, with something like shooting ranges, for example, you might raise your weapon skill with certain guns. So doing these things improving your character as well. I like the idea of, you know, gun ranges, the boxing. I mean, that is very GTA. GTA nailed that. Absolutely fantastic. Having these other experiences in game that you could do, it brought the world alive, being able to do stuff like that. I know I rag on GTA a lot, but the campaign and the side stuff that they do in the campaign, I absolutely respect hugely. And then, I don't know why you asked this question, but finally, can we romance Keanu Reeves? The answer to that is no. I'm not even reading the answer. His answer is literally no. But I get the distinct thing. You just want to say, no, you weirdo. Why are you even asking that? But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is, you know, just a subtle 25-minute video just there. I would say go and read it for yourself. It is a very good little glimpse into the world of Cyberpunk. There's some little nuggets in there. And hopefully things like the gender, things like the first-person stuff, which people have kicked up a huge fuss about, hopefully it alleviates some of those fears, that it is all done in the right way. I think they nailed the gender stuff. I will say that. And this isn't the last time I want to talk about it, because it's ridiculous. I think they nailed it. Pick your body type, pick the voice you want, and then pick all your details of your character. Job done. Like, that works. First person stuff, we will see. Time will tell. As for the multiplayer, we spoke about that in the other video. And the quests, I want to get my hands in this game now. It's as simple as that. I just want to get my hands in it. I want to play it. But thank you for bearing with me all the way through this video, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a very long one. Yeah, I would say definitely go read the article for yourselves. Have an amazing day, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Have a good one.